Welcome to the chat where the deals get done. Real estate tips and a whole lot of fun. Think different, achieve your goals. Real estate simplified, that's how we roll.
Hey, good morning, everybody. This is Brandon Rizek here from Allied Mortgage Group, along with friend, partner, podcast professional, broker owner, Reside Realty, Mike Cruz. We're here today, new podcast, something a little different that you would not expect from a loan officer or a broker, real estate broker. But today we're going to talk about residential rentals. Which I think is, a lot of people might be interested in that. A lot of renters like to know what's going on with the market, or even investors like to know what's going on with the market. Yeah. But today I think we talk about that. But first, I know we've got some rate updates, market updates. Mike, what do you got, man? What's going on?
So getting into the local Las Vegas real estate market, pleasant news here, actually. Total inventory sits at 10,666 as of this morning. That's actually down 5% from July 31st.
July 31st.
Yeah, so basically
August,
2 weeks ago.
14th today.
Yeah, so 2 weeks ago. Single family homes is sitting at 7,014. That's actually down 6% from just last week. Townhouses are at 1,204. That's actually a bump up 1.4%. Condos are flat at 1,529, literally a difference of 2 condos on the market this week versus last week.
Wow.
Manufactured homes, basically mobile homes, seeing a little bump in that market there. It's kind of a specialty market, up 6% week over week.
You know, we should do a podcast on manufactured homes or something. We should talk about that one day. I'm sorry I interrupted you.
No, you're
but
good.
Just a quick point is that, that market kind of boomed when rates went up because the price points are lower and they're more affordable.
Right.
And now that rates have come down a tiny bit and the market's going to start shifting, which we'll go into later, or another podcast, I think that you're going to see that market maybe take a little bit of a dive compared to where it was. But anyway,
so
I'm sorry.
that's the explanation for the increase in inventory.
I think that's what might be happening there.
And high rises are at 612, which is a bump of 1.2%, not too much of a difference there. Under contract homes, 2,864, that is flat. That is one less than what it was last week.
Okay.
So we're consistent with the under contract number, homes going under contract.
Well, wait a minute. Let's dive into that real quick. So homes under contract, but does that, is it washing some of the houses that have already closed and then the new ones going in contract? Is that all kind of blended into that?
It is. Well,
okay.
It is. And it's a 30-day rolling number that I do. So we're really only looking at a difference of the last 7 days. And then obviously the days 31 through 37 have fallen off from what we had last week.
Okay.
So that's why it really is, it just shows that the market's very stable right at the moment. Mm-hmm. And the number of sold homes over the last 30 days is 2,518, and that's actually up almost 1%. It's like 0.95% over the last week. So, and something we talked about last week was seller fatigue. It's not just a problem in Las Vegas. I've actually talked to a couple agents around the country where people that have their homes on the market, they're not getting a lot of showings, they're not getting a lot of activity, they're just taking them off the market. With that said, though, our withdrawn listing number for the last 7 days was 344. Is
that a big number?
Well, it's 14% less than what it was for the previous week.
Wow.
So it's actually gone down quite a bit. It is about 10% above the normal number, and it's actually 20% below what it was 2 weeks ago.
Well, that's a good sign.
Yeah.
That's a real good sign.
And that's also, that with the inventory going down really indicates that we're getting into a better market.
The pendulum that you talked about.
Exactly. And that leads into what you have to say about the interest rates.
Interest rates, guys.
Look at them smile, guys.
I'm excited. I've been this excited in a long time. So rates have come down. Awesome news. Now they have come down slowly. A little bit. They're not, in the fives yet. We're not there. We're close. On a national scale, an average on the 30-year fixed for a conventional loan, I think, is 6.5 today, 6.3. If you're paying points, you can get in the 5s, which is way better than we were a long time ago, not even actually a short time ago. And then some of your government loans, in fact, I just locked somebody at 5.875 today, or yesterday.
That's great.
Me. So we are hitting the 5s in the government side, the VAs and the FHAs, and the conventionals we're in the mid 6s. I'm not even saying mid to high 6s anymore. We are in the mid 6s, depending, on your average, on your average borrower's credit score, down payment, etc. Which leads me to talk about, so if you're a buyer out there in the current market and you're saying, well, the Fed's going to drop rates in September, it's priced in now. Lock your rates now, because when the Fed does drop the rate, as we have talked about in previous, the bond will go up. That will make rates slightly adjust up. So now the expectation in September of 25 right now on the streets has been a 50 bip Fed cut. Well, a 50 basis point Fed cut is priced into the interest rates today.
So when you say 50 basis points, that's 0.5%, basically.
0.5% on the Fed rate.
Okay.
Yes. So not on mortgage rates. It's a totally different thing, but it will eventually trickle down and derive. But so if the Fed, if Mr. Powell, the Fed chairman, does lower the rates 50 basis points, you will see the rates, generally just inch up a tiny bit, but they'll hold pretty steady where they're at. But they will inch up a tiny bit. Right now, you'll probably get better pricing than you will when he lowers it. I don't want to talk bad news, but right now, if he does a 25 basis point cut, not a 50 basis point cut, you're going to see rates shoot back up because the market has priced in a 50 bip cut. So right now, it is a great time to lock your rate. Do not listen to the news. Don't lock your rate now. It is already priced into your mortgage rate. But it is nice. I am getting calls. I am getting refinance calls again. People are coming out and they want to start looking into buying. That just tells me when they truly go down in the 5s, it is going to be a seller's market.
Okay,
again.
so let's talk about the refinance market real quick. So basically, somebody that maybe has bought in the last year and a half, where they've had
3 years, and even really almost,
where they bought at a 6.5 rate or higher, it might be a good time to refinance.
Not yet. I'm actually I'm probably taking money out of my own pocketbook. But I can't consciously do this. There are a lot of people out there that are selling refinances. My humble opinion, and maybe I'm wrong, I don't know, is I do believe rates will be down within the next 6 to 9 months, lower than where they're at now. If you're a buyer, doesn't mean you should wait. I don't mean it that way. But if you're refinancing, I do believe that do it and do it once. I'm on that philosophy. Okay. And most of the people calling me for refinance are past customers, and I want to make sure my past customers are doing the right thing. So I am telling them right now to wait. But if you are drowning in debt and you need to refi, it's a little more stomachable to do it now than it was even 3 months ago.
Okay.
So if that answers your question.
Absolutely. Sounds good. And just before we get fully talking about rentals, we're going to talk about the rental real estate market currently here in Las Vegas. There are 4,493 properties for rent currently in Las Vegas.
So 4,500, let's round up.
Right.
Okay.
So the bottom line is there's less homes to choose from if you're going to rent than there are if you're going to buy.
Right. But is that a lot on the rental market, or is that little? Is that normal?
It's kind of normal. This does not take into account any apartments. So apartment complexes, they don't go on the MLS. This is strictly individually owned homes, condos, and townhouses. Mm-hmm. So that's
I don't know why anybody would go in an apartment in today's world. I think rents, we'll get to this in a minute. I'm jumping ahead.
Well,
I'm going to let Mike talk. I'm sorry.
What do you think the least expensive property for rent is right now in Las Vegas?
You mean price-wise or the property type?
Price-wise.
Least expensive?
Least expensive.
$1,400.
Off the MLS this morning, you could get a 1-bedroom, 1-bath condo for $625.
Well, there you go. That's my point. There you go. Wow.
But on the opposite end, the most expensive property for rent is what really blew me away.
It's got to be 15, 20 grand, some custom house.
$100,000 is the most expensive
month?
property to rent per month here in Las Vegas.
I could stay at Caesar's Palace in a mansion for less than that with a butler.
So you're probably thinking this is some mansion in the Ridges up in Summerlin. No, it's actually a house, we'll call it a compound, over behind UMC on Pinto Lane. I actually had the privilege of being in this property back in the 90s, but it's really something else. It's actually 3 houses, 3 one large house, 3 guest houses, 3 different pools. So it is like your own resort. But yeah, $100,000 a month. I was kind of floored.
It's not money I can fathom,
Yeah,
so I
right.
can't comment on it. I'm not there. So
Yeah. 2,566 single-family homes. So if you're looking to rent a house, there's 2,566 houses for rent. That's compared to 7,014 for sale. So there's 273% more homes available to buy than there are to rent. So the rental market's definitely a little bit tighter.
More competitive.
And more competitive. And you're going to see where prices are more stable and even going up a little bit in the rental market, I think, right now. And I was helping a client over the last couple of weeks trying to get a rental, and there are multiple applications on single-family homes, a lot of them.
a lot of them. I've
Yeah.
heard that. So let's start with this. So Mike, real estate question. Mm-hmm. I have my answers on the mortgage side. I know why I tell people to rent, but why do people rent? Why is it a good idea to rent? Because we're always, as professionals in our industries, we're saying, don't rent, God, it's 100% interest. It's this.
Yeah.
But why might it be okay to rent? Why is it okay financially sometimes?
Well, the number one reason that makes sense for most people is when they're just moving here to town and they're not very sure what neighborhood they want to live in, not sure if they're going to like it here.
That's a big thing.
That's the biggest real issue. So they're not sure if they want to buy or not, and what area, and they want to get settled and take the time to look for a home to buy before they actually commit.
A home, an area. Okay, so Vegas in specific, as you know, and for some of the viewers, whoever, it's a transient town.
Right.
And I used to have a joke. So when I moved here, I've been coming here my entire life. I have cousins that were born and raised here, so I've been coming here. But the joke was when I officially moved here, they go, we can't call you a local until you've been here 5 years.
Right.
And I used to laugh at him. I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm a local, I'm ID. And I go, this and that. But no, he was right, because he goes, if you could last 5 years in Vegas, you're going to make it here.
Right. And when you talk to people when they first move here, and the first couple years, usually people, they don't like it. And the ones that typically stay over 2 years start to change their mind a little bit, I've noticed.
Yeah. And the people who like it too much get burnt out sometimes because they're on the strip every day. So that's a whole nother aspect.
Yeah, we could get into a whole conversation of locals don't go down to the strip.
Yeah, right. But it is a transient city. So, if you don't know that you're going to be here for a long time, I don't know that I would make that investment unless you turn it into a rental property when you leave. I would be sure. Come rent for a year. See if you like it. See if you understand the town. Find the area you like. Your friend that moved here 5 years ago might tell you they like the southwest side of town, but you moved there, you might hate it and like Green Valley or whatever. Could be anything. So it is test the water, see what location you like. It's a transient town. Make sure you're going to stay. If you moved here for work, are you here for 2 years? I don't know that I would own. Right.
No, right. And it makes sense. There are times it makes sense to rent first.
Yes.
That's the bottom line. And when we get into the amount of time you need to lease, and you had mentioned, I don't know why anybody would rent an apartment.
It makes no sense to me.
Well, one of the reasons why is because you can typically do a shorter term lease on an apartment than you can on a house or an individually owned condo or townhouse.
Is this for price point? I mean, do they charge you for that?
Typically, there is a little hit to your monthly price for a shorter term.
For like a month-to-month term or a 6-month term.
Right.
As opposed to...
It can be $50 to $100 a month more.
What's the general lease term you'll see on a residential rental?
On a residential property, typically the landlord property manager is going to want at least 1 year. Sometimes if you're willing to do 2 years, they will knock the rent down a little bit. Not always, but I have seen it. It's not totally uncommon. to take the rent down $50, $25 a month if you're willing to sign a 2-year lease. So, and it just depends on the individual's situation too.
So on average, it's safe to say we can expect 1 year.
1 year
is the standard
is
lease term,
standard.
and everything's negotiable.
And right, but I can tell you, it is difficult to find something for less than 1 year. I recently had someone looking; they wanted 4 to 6 months, and for what they were looking for, could not find anybody willing to take it.
And I'm going to sidetrack too. I know a lot of people that come to rent here, because it's so transient and they don't know that they're going to stay, they want furnished rentals. Is that a thing?
Furnished rentals are a thing. You're going to pay for it. Typically 30 to 50% more per month, but it is a thing, and usually they're absolutely beautiful. I don't want to say Airbnb-like, but they're usually on the higher end rentals.
Okay. So now that we have what to expect as far as terms, how do you qualify for a rental? So what happens, Mike? If you're out there not shopping for an apartment, but you want a condo or townhome or a single family home most of the time,
right?
Or standalone, detached single family, I should say. What should somebody expect? Because you're renting for a reason. A lot of times, if you're not transient, maybe you're renting because you have bad credit, things have happened to you, whatever it is, unfortunate circumstances, and now you have to rent because you can't get a mortgage.
Right.
What should they expect?
So every property manager has different qualifications, and to be perfectly blunt, honest, right now it's actually easier to buy a home, credit-wise, here in Las Vegas.
To me. It's just insane.
Yeah, it's easier to buy a home than it is to rent right at the moment, and it's because it is a transient town. The property managers, they have credit score requirements, typically ranging anywhere from 600 all the way up to 700. I've even seen a couple at 725 FICO scores required to rent, which 99% of the time, if somebody has a 725 FICO score, they're going to buy.
Right.
But other qualifications are you cannot have any collections for a past landlord, property manager,
so your
or
rental
utility.
history is a thing.
Absolutely.
That's a good way to.
Yeah.
It's a good way to vet somebody too. You could have bad credit, but if you pay your rent, I guess that's a little logical.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
Absolutely. So.
Now, what about? Okay, so you talked about credit requirements. So, what about financial requirements? Do you have to show in my world, I have to show sometimes money in the bank outside of what is required. I know there's a lease deposit to expect, maybe some cleaning fees, key fees, right?
Right. And another difference between an apartment versus renting a single family home, townhouse, or condo from an individual is you've heard the term first and last month's rent. Well, that's pretty typical with a single property, such as a single family home, condo, townhouse. Versus an apartment, the deposit might only be $300 to $600 a month for a one-time deposit, security deposit. So apartments do also have lower security deposits.
Okay.
But if you are renting a property, single-family home, expect to pay 1 full month's rent as a security deposit. Yes, it normally is refundable. And then you can have a cleaning deposit. If you have pets, expect a pet deposit.
We'll get to pets in a minute because that's a whole
different story. I know.
Realm. Right.
Also, key deposits. Some of them, property managers have administrative fees where it's $100 to $200 on top of all your deposits. So it can get a little pricey.
Right. And so what I worry about with clients, we'll get back to. Actually, no, we'll get back to this. Let's stay on tax. So that's what to expect. 1 month's rent, maybe another rent for deposit, some miscellaneous fees, everything. Let's talk about pets. Okay, so pets are a thing. I've rented out homes before, multiple homes, and I will tell you there was one home I was pretty adamant that I didn't want any dogs or cats or pets in the house.
Right.
A fish is not considered a pet. I'm talking about something live that can scratch your floor type of thing. I had beautiful hardwood floors in this house, and it wasn't that I don't like dogs. I love dogs, but I didn't want the floors scratched up because it's expensive to replace that. So the tenant that came into that house had service animals. And there was really nothing I could do.
Correct.
And I had I gotta tell you, I was pacing. I was pretty mad about that. Turns out the guy was like the nicest guy in the world or anything, but this is just a personal story. So let's get back to relevance. So when you have pets, you can run into these problems where you're limited on how many single family homes was there? 2,700 something?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, so now only maybe 1,200 of those will allow a pet.
Right. Actually, that I took a quick glance at that. 1,200 would be generous with the current market. It's probably more around 1,000.
Okay, so if you're a renter
really
and have a dog,
what you have available to you.
You're sucking it up.
Yeah.
You're getting what you get. It's that simple.
And I actually have seen where property managers will consider a fish a pet.
A fish?
Yes.
Stop.
What it comes down to is an aquarium, and they don't want water damage to their hardwood floors, is what I've kind of derived from this most of the time.
I mean, if you're worried about a fish as a pet,
Yeah.
then you shouldn't be renting your house out.
Well,
That's
right.
my humble opinion.
Right.
But we won't get into that. So, okay, so pets, and on top of the limited resource, from my experience, you're going to have more deposits.
Right.
More fees that you're going to have to come up with just because the landlord's going to ask for that.
Right. And if you have one pet, it might be one deposit. If you have multiple pets, many homes I've seen where they charge the deposit per pet. They also will charge pet rent a lot of times, not always, and that could be $25 or $30 a month. And truthfully, that kills me. I have pets, I don't have kids, but they can't charge you extra for the kids, but they can charge you extra for a little 5-pound dog that's probably going to be fine.
That'll probably treat the house better than,
Way better
than a
than that kid
4-year-old
will,
that's
right?
banging the walls with toys.
Exactly.
Right. No, you're not wrong. Not at all. So
just my personal observation.
well, and so now let's go into banging walls and condition of property. So what I've seen a mixed array, knowing the rental market, because I'm nosy and I look
Right.
on the MLS. I like to look at both. And I've seen some very remodeled or pretty remodeled homes where they're asking top dollar. But I will tell you that from my experience, maybe 70 to 80% of the houses are, I shouldn't say beat up, but they're just not brought up to today's standards, I should say. They're not remodeled.
They're not remodeled, they're not upgraded.
Yeah. Better way to put it, I'm sorry.
Especially when people buy homes as an investment property, they know they're going to rent it out. A lot of times they go straight to a builder, buy new construction, and they bare bones all the way. Carpet throughout the whole place. Nowadays, at least they have granite countertops. But if they bought the house 7, 8 years,
the white tiles, man.
well, I was going to say, if they bought the house 7 years ago or more, and a lot of times they have what is it? The laminate countertops.
Oh wow!
Or
that's a thing still.
No, it's not a thing still.
I mean,
but there's still homes with
them.
them.
They're still there. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So if you're looking for a nice upgraded home, it's going to be harder to find when you're looking at rentals. You really need to be willing to look over things and go in with the mindset, if it has the space I want and it's clean enough, that it's going to be okay to rent.
Okay, let's do a quick touch on this because you'll know more about this than I do. What if you're renting a home that has a pool? Do you expect to pay the pool guy? Does the landlord pay the pool guy? Who maintains that pool?
That really varies from house to house. I have seen it both ways. If I'm the property owner, I want to be the one paying for the pool cleaning because you want that pool to stay in good condition.
And I'm going to speak on my own behalf. I rented a house with a pool, same one with the hardwood floors. It had a pool. I wanted my pool guy there.
Right.
Because I know my pool guy takes care of it was a saltwater pool. And I says, I know he takes care of this and I know how it's being done. And to be very honest with you, he kept an eye on the pool for me. He kept an eye on the equipment for me. So it was nice to have somebody that I knew there. He wasn't spying on the tenant. I don't want to sound bad, but he was making sure that my equipment, my pool, everything was running the right way. My investment is still intact.
Exactly. And I've seen the same thing with landscaping too. On a home that's nicely landscaped, it's smart for the landlord to go ahead and pay for that landscaping.
Pay the $80 or $100 a month.
Have it built into your rent.
Right.
And I've seen too where they will charge the landscaping to the tenant. I've seen it as high as $150 a month on a house that had very minimal landscaping, which I'm like, that's a grab you fee.
Yeah, because the landscaper's charging $75,
right?
So they're making an extra $75, right?
Exactly.
So, real quick, I want to shift because we're running out of time, but I think this is so important. So, when I talk to people about renting, what happens is if they don't, a lot of them don't have good credit, Mike.
Right.
And so they have to go to each individual house that they like, and each individual landlord is asking them to take a credit report and pay their fee and do this. Well, if you already have a 550 credit score and you've run it to 5 houses, you're hurting yourself. I mean, it sucks. So what is your advice on how to avoid that? How do you get a copy of your credit report and submit it? Is that possible? Will they accept it? What are your thoughts?
Most of them no.
Okay.
There are a few where they'll actually ask the tenant to submit their own credit report. And truthfully, most people prefer that. It costs a lot less money that way. Occasionally, we will see where they won't, the property managers, they won't charge an application fee until they're accepted. I have seen that.
That's pretty
on
honorable.
A handful
That's
of
pretty
properties
honorable,
over
if
the
you
years.
ask me.
Yeah, no, they're definitely property managers that are stand up and good for their tenants.
They're doing the right thing, right?
But yeah, you can fall into a trap of, we went out and looked at 4 houses today and I want to apply for 3 of them. I'm going to tell you, don't do that. You're wasting your money on application fees. It is going to become into law, I believe, on January 1st, where if you're not accepted and approved, you will get the application fee back here in Nevada. But currently...
But they can still charge you a credit report fee.
They'll charge you a credit report fee. And right now, you're not getting those application fees back at all. So if you're applying and $75 seems to be the running average right now.
Do it to 5 houses, it adds up.
Right. Yeah, $300 in application fees and you could still be without a house.
Which brings me to my next statement. This is something that's a misconception. Do not call off the sign. Hire a realtor to help you find a rental. If you want to rent a home, something that's outside of an apartment complex, have a realtor help you. They might be able to help you negotiate, help you submit your application and do things and protect you from all of these things. Because this agent is working for the landlord that you're calling on the sign for. And then the next one is doing the same. You don't have somebody working for you. So call a realtor and see if they'll help you with a residential rental. They will help you and probably streamline the process better for you.
Right. Not every real estate agent is willing to do rentals,
I agree,
but most are, because the pay is not a ton. If you are looking to rent, typically the real estate agent gets a referral fee from the property management company when you sign the lease. So agents are willing to help you and it doesn't cost you anything.
Hopefully.
No, here in the Las Vegas area, it's highly, highly unusual because it's not considered a commission.
Right.
So it is okay for the property management company to pay a referral fee.
Cool. That's cool. Well, we're actually running out of time, which I'm shocked because we had a lot to say. I mean, guys, it's really cool. It's a market that nobody in our profession really touches on, but it's a big market. And if you do need to rent, obviously, talk to your real estate agent, talk to your loan officers, talk to them before you rent, and an honest one's going to tell you maybe you should rent, even if you can qualify.
Right.
There are situations.
One other quick thing I forgot to mention earlier is when you do go to rent, timelines are very specific on rentals.
Yeah.
A property manager or landlord here in Las Vegas, they're only going to hold a property off the market for you 2 weeks. If you're really well qualified and they want you to come get their property, they might do 3 weeks. That's kind of the extreme though. And that basically means is 2 weeks from your approval, you have to sign that lease and start paying rent. So, I know when you're giving notice on an apartment or a previous rental, they want 30 or 60 days notice now a lot of times. So it's kind of up in the air, a lot of insecure, unsure liveliness.
This is
going
why you
on.
need a real estate agent to help you.
Absolutely.
So-
and you might end up paying rent in two places for a few weeks. Unfortunately, that is the way the rentals go.
Wow. I hope you guys are enjoying this. Thanks, Mike. And the one thing that would help Mike and I get the word out is if you guys could like and subscribe and follow us.
Share your comments down below and ask us questions.
Absolutely.
We'll see you next time.
We'd love to answer them. Thanks, Mike. Thanks, guys.
Welcome to